would want to play sax, another would want to play a guitar or a piano or any other instrument, or even sing. And so we color-coded these books. As you can see, yellow is for the sax and other instruments, which are listed
take us
here.
through all these. So yellow is for the sax.
Yellow is for B-flat instruments, right?
Yes.
That's what we call them.
All right.
And here we have soprano and tenor sax. This being a tenor. And we have clarinet, we have cornet, we have flugelhorn and trumpet. So these are covered by this book.
And so this is basically for the guitar and the guitar alone?
Yes, specifically.
But the same kind of music across?
Same songs.
Same songs. And this one is for piano?
That's for piano.
Okay, this is quite interesting. Let me see. There are some instruments I never knew existed at all. So they're just like soprano, alto. This is for now the voice, or what?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
All right. And then there's alto, baritone, saxophone, and alto clarinet. Right?
Yes.
Okay, and then there's recorder. What does that mean?
The tiny, you've seen the tiny instrument that kids start on? That is the recorder.
And then there's the violin. All right, this is quite interesting. What does this mean in terms of music and, you know, in terms of fusing all this? And is it meant for the kids or it cuts across? Right.
So this art is done with kids in mind. Because mostly people start to learn music when they're young. But the music inside is aimed at all beginners because the basics of music are the same. It doesn't matter your age. As you're starting music, we start from the same place. So the music inside is aimed at beginners who are starting any instrument.
Yes. All right, this is quite interesting, so to speak. What would you say is the space of music, and especially to this level as it stands? And I know the only time I perhaps got to, you know, enjoy the best of this is when maybe you are in primary school to high school to campus and all that. Then after that, perhaps it becomes a game of the past. Have we left the traditional and the cultural and the ancient aspect of music to that extent in the country?
Right. Music education is an interesting space. And that is because there are tools that we need as a country to help us progress in terms of music education. And that's where we come in. As you've said correctly, mostly we start to learn when we're in primary school, in the younger years. And as we move on, you know, life becomes life, right? You have work, you have other priorities. And we said, you know what, we'd like to make it easy for anyone at any stage to get to do music, because perhaps you wanted to do music when you were younger, but you couldn't for some reason, and now you'd like to get into it. And so beyond the books, we have a lot that's coming up, a lot that is in the kitchen. And just a sneak peek, we have something called Ala Zetu Connect, which is a platform we are working on, which will enable you to get into music education. So we are seeing the landscape of music education as it is, and we are using technology to enable anyone to start learning an instrument.
And I'm glad that you're saying we. So when you say we, what exactly do you mean?
Right. So I have this name here.
Ala Zetu.
Ala Zetu.
Yes.
Ala Zetu is a music education company. And we have done these books as Ala Zetu. And beyond the books, there's more that we'd like to do to enhance music education. So this is a company that I began in 2021. And we've been in operation since then, creating material like this and also looking at the gaps in the industry and seeing how we can plug those using technology. All right, so let's talk about you as Makau, as Yole, and basically what it is that you do. You know, I mean, in relation to this, before then we have grown Ala Zetu to the levels or to the magnitude that you'd want for it to be. I began music when I was in primary school. And I remember I saw someone playing the piano once, and they were so into it. I must have been in class 1 at the time. And I sat there wondering, what is it that he is enjoying so much? And that's the point at which I began to listen and I began to hear music. It's never been the same since. So I started to explore, trying to learn keyboard. That's what I started with. Of course, continued playing throughout high school. Finished high school, you know that gap year that we usually have before campus. That's when I got into the saxophone. Picked it up. Since I had a foundation, at least in piano, it wasn't too difficult. And yeah, I progressed with saxophone and became my main instrument. So this is your main instrument, but you could do others? Yes. All right, so in Ala Zetu, or you know as Ala Zetu, what then are the main
perhaps grounds in terms of making sure that, well, there's that progress in the world of music and in the country? So is it about just creating or making sure that you work on books that will walk people through, or basically also the aspect of training and all instruments in this case?
Right. Music is interesting because it's an art. And there are so many ways of doing art. Teaching, for example, different teachers approach teaching differently. As much as we have a standard in music, being an art, they approach it differently. So we sat down and we said, right, we have amazing teachers in this country and we have willing learners. But now there's a gap, there's a disconnect. And this is something I noticed because people would come up to me and ask, do you teach piano? Or do you teach guitar? And then I'd have to look for a friend of mine who teaches. And so to close that gap, we said we shall create a platform, which is Ala Zetu Connect, that will be open. And teachers, of course, we have standards, but then teachers can sign up and clients who are looking for teaching services can go on the platform and find teachers. So that way, we will enable music education generally in the country. All
right. So would you consider yourself as good at this stage, or it's a learning process?
It's always
and
a learning process.
If good, how did you get to that level, really?
There's an interesting thing about artists and musicians. If you ask a musician, how good are you? At that point, they start to see all the things that they want to be able to do, but they can't. So they could be good, but they feel that they still have a long way to go. But based on feedback that I get, I'd say I'm pretty good at this point, although I know there's still so much to learn, but I'm happy with the progress that I've made so far.
All right, so this is basically what you do in life.
Yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
An entrepreneur, but in line with music?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so playing the
saxophone.
Please, just say it for me.
Right.
You do it like, I'd say, entrepreneurship, forget about that. But professionally, do you do this in terms of maybe performing in events and all that? Or at events?
That is a bit of a tricky space, I would say. I used to do it up until last year, when I realized that there's so much more that needs to be done in this space. And that's when I dialed down the playing and I started focusing on things that would have a greater impact on the scene in general.
Yes, and now that's basically the Ala Zetu aspect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Where do you intend to take this, and in terms of how it's being received in the country, perhaps in schools, and I'm sure you probably have gone to schools just to see how much it is still deep-rooted?
Our plans are huge, right? We want to play on the global field. And we have realized that we have to start at home. Right. We have to start in our country, then move on to the East Africa.
Like you read my mind, because I wanted to ask you, it looks like you're so keen on Swahili and not any other.
Yes, yes, that is the point. And if you look at music education, the material that is there is material from outside, which does not sit too well with me. We need to have material from here as well. And so we have started right here at home, and with time we'll expand now to other countries across the continent. We want to make sure that we've covered this continent completely. So our plans are big, and I love the progress. The reception has been amazing. And the future is bright.
Yeah, in fact, I wanted to ask you that. What do you feel like, the market is in terms of progress, and what is this one thing that keeps you saying that, well, there's something that appears to be promising out there? In that case, you've answered challenges.
That is a good one. Yeah. Our challenge is also an advantage in a way. Okay. And that is the fact that our music education industry is not where it needs to be yet. So that means that it sounds sometimes like a foreign concept when you talk to people about music education. But it's good that now, even with CBC being introduced, CBC introducing music, people are starting to warm up to music. So the challenge is that it is not a common thing to have music education. But then that's a benefit for us because it means now we have our work cut out. It means we have the opportunity to have a bigger impact. Right. Yes. Okay, and so my assumption is that these ones are already in circulation for people to buy? Yes, they are. All right, so how do they get a hold of you? Where do they get to learn some more about Ala Zetu? What activities are active right now such that if people would want to enroll, then they can join in? Our books are available for purchase. Yeah. Visit us on social media, Ala Zetu, that's on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. We have covered all the platforms.
Right.
So you go there, talk to us, send us a DM, tell us that you'd like to get a copy, and we will organize delivery for you if that is what you prefer. But we also have a pickup location on Kimathi Street in Nairobi. So if you prefer to come pick up the book, then there's that option.
And that largely based on the kind of music that you probably are keen on, or the instruments.
Yes.
Well, basically, well, if this is going to be for an entire school that teaches all this, that is quite incredible. Thank you so much, Makau, for speaking to us.
Thank you
this was on the basis of just understanding Ala Zetu, but I'm sure we're going to have more and more of this, to have more conversations as to getting to know you and all that. So if someone says, I want you to come and play at my event, what happens? I will organize. You're open?
Yes.
All right. How do they get a hold of you as well? Or they just join, I mean, they check you out on Ala Zetu as well?
Social media. I'm on social media as Makau Yole.
Makau Yole.
So at Makau Yole, that is on Instagram and Facebook as well.
All right.
Yes.
Some more of music.
You want some more music?
Yes, please, before we close it.
Right.
Or you want us to get the...
No, I'd love to entertain you with something from this book.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
okay.
I have a few tunes.
Okay.
Probably play 2 more. That.
Let me help you open, Amma.
Yes, please.
So page or what?
24.
24. Okay, this will take us for a break. And 23.
Yes, that's it.
Sauti ya Mama?
Yes, you gave away the wanted people to guess, but no worries. It's still entertainment.
Okay, fine. Oh, you wanted us to guess.
You could sing along though.
But yes, I will definitely do that. We put this.
No, that's fine.
That's fine, eh?
Yes, okay. That's okay. So this is how that goes.
Okay. Who would have guessed this?
Now that's interesting because I have played a simplified version, which is aimed at beginners.
Okay.
Of course, the original version is a bit more, goes something like.
Ooh, and it has to be a lot of practice if you're going to sing along with someone.
Yes, it is. Yeah, music is an art. It's all about practice. Ooh. Would you like to hear one more?
Yes, one more as we close.
Right.
Yes, let's take a short break.
Let's wrap
Not
this up.
close in totality. Hiyo labda ingine sijui nimeangalia hapo siku. Oh, maskini punda. Tafuta to just get what you're playing. Alinyimwa pepo moja mbili tatu. All right, sawa. Wewe nilipita nursery usinione hivyo. That's nice.
So this is a singing game.
Yeah.
We have simplified it. So I'll play the simplified version for beginners, and then we'll play the OG version.
All right.
This is how that goes. Then I will do our version.
Okay, sawa. Habari ya Januari, kuna mtu mmoja aliyepotea, na tukimshika tutamfunga jela. Nimesahau.
That's amazing.
Rafiki yangu kuja.